life, brother.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Dallas fans don't know what these are.
Gets it, Saquon Barkley. First down. Barkley. Saquon. E-A-G-L-E-S-E.
Go Birds, baby!
What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Season number 2 of Under the Wing podcast. And, within the last 5 minutes, things have gotten so crazy. So we're going to get to this right away. First, we got the Moose coming back again. We got Benny Panella. And, boys, did we just, as Eagles fans, get some of the best news in the last hour for Eagles fans after the last 25 hours? It's been insane. But the best news we just got, Max Crosby is not going to the Ravens.
Breaking news.
How about that?
Backed out of the trade.
Wow. How about that?
That's why they call yesterday legal tampering. It doesn't count till today. Anything can happen.
Exactly.
What a wild turn of events. 2 first-round picks, and apparently the Ravens are the ones that backed out. So they were willing to do that deal, and then they saw what happened in legal tampering. They saw half their roster go, and they realized, oh, we're probably going to need one of those first-round picks back. Deals off. I never knew you could even do that in the NFL. What a wild series of events.
Yeah.
It's insane. But, so there's that. Max Crosby not going to the Ravens. That was, as we were getting ready to start our show, we just got that news. So that is
3
insane.
minutes ago.
Per Benny. Easy.
Benny looking at it.
Per Benny Schefter himself.
It's like the Michael Scott quote from The Office. You miss 100% of the shots you can't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Exactly.
The Ravens backed out of the trade. Adam Schefter, Benny. That's how.
Gotta wonder why. I guess we'll hear more about that. There's more to that story to come, I guess.
I think it's a great discussion point. In my opinion, my instant reaction is the Ravens lost their center, Tyler Linderbaum, one of the best centers, if not the best center in football. You lost Isaiah Likely, a really good backup tight end that you were kind of counting on to be the next heir apparent in your offense because, aside from, Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, and Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely arguably was their wide receiver too. Now he's gone. And defensively, they were starting to lose some pieces. You have this new head coach come in. I really do think the Ravens saw what happened yesterday. They were having buyer's remorse on Max Crosby. It's great to have an edge rusher, but when you have an edge rusher with nothing around you and you can't piece anything together because no free agents are coming in, I really do think the Ravens saw what was happening, looked around the lay of the land, and said, we got to get out of this. This is not good.
Apparently, KJ said apparently he failed his physical. I don't know.
Wow.
I know they shut him down at the end of last year, or at least tried to, but I didn't know what the extent of an injury was.
How old is he?
He's only 28, 29, I think.
28 years old.
Well, football years, that's getting up there.
Little Griffith, what's up, dude? Eagles keep A.J. Brown. It is starting to look that way. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. But
the issue is that aren't we going to have to pay him? When is his contract running?
He's got a contract for 2 years.
He's got 2 more years on his contract.
Okay. Yeah, 2027.
But we'll kick it off.
2028.
I even made this as if the Ravens got Max Crosby. So that's how quickly we just got off the list.
I know it's on the list. Just cross it off right now.
So we'll get to the other trades that have happened within the last week or so. I think the first one was Trent McDuffie getting traded to the Rams, and then they gave him a new deal. That's
huge.
Just because,
that plus what the Rams did with Justin Watt, with getting Watts in the corner from Kansas City. I think right now the Rams are the favorite to win the Super Bowl in 2026.
Definitely.
They look fantastic.
They're trying to overtake Seattle, and they want to get ahead of the 49ers. Because remember, that division was pretty damn good last year. You had all three of them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, which one was the Super Bowl winner? So, That's a Super Bowl winner division. So of course the rivals that were in the playoffs got to get ahead of the Seahawks. Got to get ahead of each other. So
three of those four teams in the NFC West arguably got better. I mean, Seattle obviously is Seattle. They're going to be Seattle. Talked about what the Rams just did, and then of course San Francisco. Probably going to talk about this a little bit later. Signing a veteran wide receiver. It's looking like it's going to be how it always is in the NFC West. It's those three teams and then whatever the Cardinals bring to the table, which is usually nothing.
Which is nothing. Yeah, exactly. And still don't know where Kyle Murray's going. Who cares?
He got cut. Crazy.
I think I don't think he's that. He's serviceable, but that's about it. He's not going to. Doesn't blow you out of the water. So.
Yeah, he was more electric coming out of college and more hyped.
Yeah,
but clearly didn't live up to it.
Well, now you slowly got the age coming to him too, and for an aggressive wide receiver. All right, Kate, why don't you just hop on and host the show yourself? My goodness. But
AJ,
what he said, K9 the Chiefs is crazy, and that is ridiculous. And I don't think that's the worst move from the Seahawks. Of course, that destroys their split back system. I assume that's what the Chiefs are going to implement is a split back system because Isaiah Pacheco. Well, no, what happened to him?
Pacheco's in Detroit.
I just remembered seeing he went somewhere. I caught myself too there.
I thought the Chiefs would be the home of Jeremiah Love, who I love because he's a Notre Damer. He's freaking awesome. But I thought maybe I had him going to the Chiefs. Maybe
that's what we said, Frat. What's good?
But
no, I think with the way things have shaken out in the legal tampering period, I think there's a legitimate chance that Jeremiah Love actually falls in this draft because a lot of teams have just been able to go and get their running back. And if it's not the Titans, then I really don't know who's going to go up and get a running back in this draft. I don't think the Giants are going to do that. They want to go and get some other weapons for that offense. And I don't think you need a running back when you have Cam Scatterbo. But a wild opening bit for free agency right now. Isaiah. I mean, the small moves have been pretty surprising. But if we're talking about split backfields, Tampa Bay now has Bucky Irving and Kenny Gainwell, two running backs that obviously Bucky Irving's looked good. Not last year, the year before, and then Kenny Gainwell looked really good last year in Pittsburgh. And the Steelers fans are very upset they weren't able to bring him back. Meanwhile,
we know about Gainwell, so we know he's a good back.
And then a couple of the trades we'll talk about. One ties into what the Steelers did. But then you saw what happened in New Orleans where Travis Etienne goes from Jacksonville to the Saints, and they still have Kamara, and there's no real rumors on whether or not they're going to let Kamara go or trade him. So the Saints have not just one good running back. They have two really historic running backs there that kind of do the same thing. So we'll see what the Saints end up doing and what Tampa Bay ends up doing with their running back situations. But this is also a new era of football. A lot of teams are starting to lean into the run game a little bit more. So I think you're going to start to see teams utilize two running backs, maybe even on the field at the same time.
Yeah. Running games has come back. Remember, it was pass. I don't know if the Eagles set the tone for that or not. But
I think kind of what you were saying there, Benny. The running game, the two backfield has kind of come back, and I credit that to the Lions. I know they moved on from Montgomery. They traded him to the Texans, another big trade. But
that's great.
They also just went out and signed Pacheco, so it's not like it's just Jahmyr Gibbs' backfield anymore. It's now Pacheco and Gibbs. Yep. So I think
even down in Houston, sorry not to cut you off, even down in Houston, it's going to be Woody Marks and David Montgomery. They cut Joe Mixon, who I think his career's cooked. But these two running, I think teams are going to start to really lean on two running backs. Like as much as we're going to be like all excited that Kenny Walker is now down in Kansas City behind that really good offensive line, I still think they're probably going to lean on a combination of Walker, Hunt, or Walker, and whoever else the other running back. I think they have Carson Steele might still be on that team. I haven't looked at the roster.
No, the Eagles have Carson Steele.
The Eagles have Carson Steele. Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, so I think you're going to see teams have maybe like a 1A, 1B, or maybe like a 1-2 type punch. Yeah. And I think that's where you're going to see a lot of these running backs that have moved already in the offseason kind of be utilized there. But man, what a wild start to free agency. And then, of course, the Ravens backing out of the Max Crosby deal. Like, what is the NFL know? The NFL knows how to get people's attention. Everyone's all excited for March Madness and college basketball, the tournament coming up. And of course, baseball season, the NFL knows how to grab your attention right back and very quickly.
Oh, they're the master manipulators. The NFL is.
Yeah, they are.
WWE. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Now, a trade that is kind of significant to the Eagles, although it wasn't an Eagles trade, the Dallas Cowboys traded for Rashawn Gary yesterday. And this is significant because it seems like instead of paying Micah Parsons, they've now had to go out of their way to try and find more and more and more to fill the hole that he left. And it just goes to show that, man, I'm glad Jerry Jones isn't my GM because, dude, if I'm a Dallas fan right now, I'm fuming. Like, don't get me wrong, Rashawn Gary's not a bad player, but he's not Micah Parsons. And trying to fill his shoes with Rashawn Gary, I think it was somebody – they got Quentin Williams. He's not bad, but, like, they've got so many players they're trying to fill. Like, it was Kenny Clark, too. He got the deal. It's just not like those guys aren't going to give you the same level of play that Micah Parsons is. And if you really need to get 3 players to fill the shoes of one player, you should have just kept the one player because I think I saw earlier they're going to end up paying Rashawn Gary more than they were even going to have to pay Micah Parsons.
Typical.
I think it's going to be right around. I think it's the combination of Quentin Williams and Rashawn Gary.
Okay, yeah.
They're probably going to get around the same time. No, but you're exactly right. You know, Micah Parsons, hindsight, Jerry Jones can at least, throw his hat on the fact that like Micah Parsons did get hurt this last year. We don't know what's going to happen with the torn ACL. So yeah, sure. Whatever. You got a random injury if you want to hold your hat on that. But to me, like that was the linchpin of the Dallas Cowboys defense. He was the lifeblood. You saw early on in the season, Dallas, their defense suffered. They were unable to get off the field and they lost a lot of games because of it and ended up missing the playoffs. And now their pick, they still ended up trading their first round pick either way to get Quentin Williams to fix their defense, just to get them to a point where they're, capable of getting, a couple of stops during a game and just being a little bit better. I didn't like the Micah Parsons trade when it happened. I still think it was ridiculous. And even with the injury, Rashawn Gary's a nice little pickup, but I think here's my thing with Jerry Jones. And we're going to see the theater of the Dallas Cowboys unfold this offseason back on the offensive side once again with George Pickens. He wants to play this reality TV show game. And the problem is when you play that with actual people that just want to actually play football, a la Micah Parsons, a la George Pickens, a la every situation he's done this before, you're going to get exactly what you expect, a reality TV show result, which is Micah Parsons doesn't want to be in Dallas anymore, which is George Pickens is probably not going to be happy that he's franchise tagged, and you're going to dangle that contract until the training camp, which is exactly what they're going to do. Because the one thing that Dallas never does is beat the market out. Because if Alec Pierce got $29 million from the Colts, what do you think George Pickens is going to get? George Pickens was one of the top receivers in the NFL last year. Alec Pierce, great play, solid player. Great for the Colts to be able to bring him back. He was the belle of the ball for free agency, but he got $29 million. He's now I think he's the 10th highest paid receiver, 8th or 10th highest paid receiver. George Pickens is probably going to want to be a top 3 paid receiver.
Oh, he'll want more than that. He'll want to be.
So once again, because Jerry Jones likes to fool around and goof around and do this reality TV show shit, now he's got to pay George Pickens a top of market value instead of just paying him market value.
Yeah,
no, it's ratings for Jerry. As long as he's getting ratings, sometimes I think he doesn't give a shit. As long as he's getting attention and ratings, and the drama equals, hey, controversy creates cash. I think he is such in this delusional. He literally is, and the Cowboys are literally entertainment. They're not a sports team anymore, because that's the only way to try to keep them relevant. That's just the way I look at it. Hell, good for them.
Yeah, Dallas, I don't get why, but Jerry Jones never wants to pay somebody, and it always ends up coming back to bite him. And if he would have got out ahead of it, he could have definitely paid Pickens last year when they traded for him, or this year when the season ended. But instead, like Benny said, they waited and they franchise tagged him, and now somebody like Alec Pierce is making $29 million a year. that's not going to bode well for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, and he's either going to get stuck in a big contract that he doesn't want to give out, or he's going to have a player that's going to go, if you're not going to pay me the money I want, this year's it and I'm out. And as we've seen before with so many players, if they don't, like, I mean, I would love for this to happen as an Eagles fan, but to his career, I don't want to see it happen to George Pickens. But he could just be like, okay, you're going to franchise tag me? I'm not playing until I get a deal, pull like a Le'Veon Bell, and then force the Cowboys' hand. And sadly, that's kind of what the NFL has come to now. It's the franchise tag is cool, but there's a reason the Eagles don't utilize it.
Rarely guys play on the franchise tag.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they don't. You need that security.
Players don't like that. Yeah, players don't like that. That, when they first started that, it was cool, especially for the team. But, yeah, players really, as the years went on, do not like that. There's more players that get heated when they're franchise tagged. And it makes the relationship between the team and the player usually go south, which is good if it's the Cowboys. That's great. Yeah, good for them. Like I said, good for them.
If we want a good transition here, a friend of mine just texted me. I texted him. I'm like, oh, the Ravens just backed out of the trade, and he said, so did Dak's woman. So it looks like there's commitment issues across the NFL.
Well, apparently what I hear is he wanted her to sign a prenup, and she didn't want to. I guess he was worried about her robbing him. I don't know, but he
reasonable.
Yeah, because he's really good September through December, and we know how the rest of the story goes.
Yeah. Now, one more thought on this Max Crosby. Again, you have Max Crosby sitting right over here, not a Raven anymore. It doesn't look like it. The Raiders announcing that the Ravens backed out of the trade. It's one of those things where that's very definitive. If the Ravens announce like, oh, we got a rework deal, thought process is if the Ravens didn't like the trade or injury flag, if you really want the player, you would then say, okay, maybe not 2 firsts, maybe a first and a third, or maybe a first and a second, or something like that, or maybe a first and a third this year, and then we give you maybe a fifth next year, or something like that. You find a way around it.
AJ Brown and a third.
No,
no, you keep AJ Brown. So if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, okay, and we get to draft day, and Max Crosby is still a disgruntled Raider, I'm calling up. We get to pick 24.
What's up,
Howie Roseman? I'm picking up the phone, and I'm calling the Raiders, and I'm saying, Tom Brady, Mark Davis, you want this pick? There's a wide receiver on the board. You want this pick? You can have it. We want Max Crosby. You get this pick, and that's it. We want Max Crosby. And I think that would be a great trade for the Eagles because, even if he's hurt, even if he can't play, the start of the season or something, you have enough depth at the edge rush. You have Nolan Smith, you have Jalen Sutton, you have Brandon Graham coming back. I'm sure they're probably going to go and sign Bradley Chubb would be a nice piece for the Eagles defense, cheap and on a veteran deal. I think, bringing in a Max Crosby, maybe this is just a redshirt year because he's hurt. IR him, and then next year you have him. I'm totally cool with giving up a first-round pick to bring that type of talent into Philadelphia.
Yeah, that sounds like would Tom Brady do that though? How's it? After all, we beat him in the Super Bowl. You think he has a little grudge with the Eagles?
I think it's going to be a situation where the Raiders' hands are just going to be tied. Like you cannot have Max Crosby, a guy you had traded. Let's think about this for a second. For 48 hours, Max Crosby was no longer a Raider. He was a Raven. The NFL, everyone saw this. It was a very public trade. It wasn't one of those rumors, and then the Ravens aren't interested anymore. This was a trade made. It was announced. People saw it. It would, He
even posted like I think it's that picture or another one. He posted like on his social media him in a Ravens jersey. So it was definitely a done deal. And I guess it's coming out. It's the physical something with his knee. And then another thing, just kind of a rumor,
sure,
but it could be not as important now, might still be. Trey Hendrickson, we haven't got to him yet. He's a free agent edge Bengals player. Was really good a few years ago. Not as good the last couple, but
he's also been with the Bengals.
Rumored
defense.
To be making his decision tomorrow on who he's going to play with, and it says the Eagles and the Bills have both talked to him in the last 24 hours. So the Eagles potentially go for him. If they can't get him, then definitely get on the phone, call the Raiders, say, hey, let's make this Max Crosby thing happen.
I will say if Trey Hendrickson, on a nice deal, I don't want Trey Hendrickson getting Jalen Phillips money.
No.
But Trey Hendrickson on a $19-20 million deal, I think I'd be all about that. But I think right now want to know a little bit more information on Max Crosby's knee. But getting back to my point, the reason why you can't bring him back into the building if you're Tom Brady is because you pissed him off last year when you benched him in the final game of the season because you wanted to tank, you wanted to lose for Fernando. That worked. You lost for Fernando, but you can't bring that guy back into the building now. He's unhappy.
He's pissed off.
You had him traded. He does not want to be there anymore. He's hurt. So I think you turn around and you try to move him for whatever you can get. And I think a first round pick and maybe a day 2, day 3 pick next year is probably going to be the price tag considering the injury, however extensive it is.
Might be able to do it too because they're going, like I said, they're stuck. They're big time stuck.
Yeah, and with the amount of players the Eagles lost, they're going to have plenty of capital.
Well, yeah. And you think that was a chain reaction why the Ravens let people go because they had to pay Crosby and they figured, well, that's our big signing. We're going to make money room.
I'm thinking. With at least again, I know this is really quick, and this is just me reading the room. 2 first-round picks for a team that just had the roster gutted, and then you look at the situation. If Max Crosby's not going to play, and you give up 2 first-round picks for a guy that might not play this year because of how extensive his knee injury, or maybe he plays only half the year. Tyler Linderbaum, effectively, you gave up Tyler Linderbaum, 2 first-round picks, and Isaiah Likely to bring in Max Crosby. That's a lot. That's a lot of talented players and picks, especially next year's draft, which is going to be loaded full of quarterbacks. So those picks are going to hold even more value should the Raiders, have 2 picks next year and want to, move, or the Ravens want to move back. That's going to hold that pick's going to hold a lot of water. That's a lot. And I guess in the mindset of building your roster, that's a lot to give up for one guy who might give you 8 games this year because of his injury.
So here they end up without Crosby, and they end up without all the other guys that went to the Giants.
Sucks to suck.
John Harbaugh making some sniper moves up in New York. We're going to make it the the New York Baltimore Ravens.
So here's a good one here. So John Harbaugh, apparently the players loved him on that team if they're willing to go play for him. So was he the problem, or was it their quarterback?
Ooh. I
have a guess here.
I don't think it's Lamar. I don't think you can. Lamar's a 2-time MVP. I think there's a situation where, and that was a situation where the voice in the locker room just got stale. I mean, been there for 19 years.
Randy Reed-itis, just like with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Being around too long.
Yeah. Another big trade, I believe happened yesterday, was Michael Pittman getting traded to the Steelers.
How about that?
It kind of flies under the radar because of everything else going on, but Michael Pittman got traded to the Steelers, and I think it was only for a 7th-round pick.
It was a late pick swap. I like the trade for the Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing because I kind of thought they were going to be rebuilding that team. We'll see what happens, but kind of seems like they're setting themselves up to bring Rodgers back, have 2 receivers that kind of do what Rodgers wants to do, which is kind of throw the ball up and go get it. But for the Colts, I kind of wonder what they're doing now because Alec Pierce, you paid him a ton of money. Daniel Jones is probably not going to be ready week 1, so you're going to need to find yourself at least a stopgap quarterback to get you through the first few weeks until he's back from his Achilles tear.
Kyler Murray. There we go.
No, that's going to be a lot of money to tie up into your quarter. Actually, if we talk about it a little bit later, I have a couple landing spots for Kyler Murray that make a lot of sense. But to me, I kind of see them going for, maybe Jacoby Brissett, bringing him in, or Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee might only cost you a 4th or a 3rd. So
drive it up, make it a 2nd or a 3rd
deal. But Josh Downs is your other wide receiver, and then after that, you don't have a lot. So because you got rid of the wide receiver they had drafted a year ago, you traded him to the Jets. So I don't really know what the Colts are doing. I thought Pittman was going to be a part of their at least plans for the immediate future. You didn't really get much back for him, so I don't like that trade at all for the Colts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Steelers, the Roonies, they don't want to have a down year. They want to, they're used to being in the playoffs every year. And with McCarthy being there, which I think he's a horrible head coach, did coach Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. They won the Super Bowl together. So maybe, they're going to try to maybe they think that will work, and that's why they're making the moves they're making. You never know. I don't like McCarthy. I think he'll be the shortest lived Steeler head coach in history. I don't see him staying there for 12 years.
It was a strange hire because the last two times the Steelers have hired a head coach, Bill Cowher and obviously Mike Tomlin, they hired a 38-year-old defensive coordinator type. And they kind of went the other way with this, with Mike McCarthy, who's in his 60s. He's kind of an offensive mind, and he's kind of been a bit of a flame out ever since he, kind of got out of Green Bay. He didn't really work in Dallas, and hasn't really garnered a lot of attention around the league. I thought kind of maybe a team like the Cardinals that love to pick up a retread would hire him and just say, hey, whatever you do, you do. But the Steelers, it was kind of interesting, I guess. I think for the Steelers, the reason why, maybe internally you make this move is because I think it's time they kind of are starting to realize, I think it's time we just kind of tore this down. So hire him. Let's see what happens. We'll see if we can get a year, of getting the old gang together. You have Rodgers and a couple of good receivers, maybe a decent running game and an old defense, and just see what happens. And then if it doesn't work, Rodgers retires. McCarthy's here for maybe a year or two. You just tank and you rebuild, and then you go find your next guy.
It would benefit the Steelers not to make the playoffs because I think the Roonies, if they make the playoffs, they think, okay,
Yeah, of all the years, next year, if the quarterback class holds, a lot of kids could go back. Next year, you're going to have Arch Manning, you're going to have Dante Moore, Lenora Sellers. You're going to have a bunch of quarterbacks coming out next year that, if you're a quarterback needy team like the Steelers who need a future beyond Aaron Rodgers, that's the class you want to have a decent pick in. And if they make the playoffs, well, you're not going to have a decent pick in that class.
Exactly.
Yeah. Moving on though, got some other free agents updates to go over. We'll talk about all the ones not pertaining like the Eagles and stuff, and then we'll get into them in a minute. We obviously touched on Kenny Walker, and then Travis Etienne, Alec Pierce, all that. One of the big ones that I wanted to highlight was Mike Evans going to the 49ers.
Yeah.
That was
massive. It's massive if he stays healthy.
And he won't because they have a substation next to their
stadium. He's old too.
Melt his knees.
He's old too.
Whatever happens. He is old, but I will say this: I do like the move. It's going to be him and Ricky Pearsall. I think Juwan Jennings is probably going to go someplace else. And then Brandon Ayuk, I don't know if he'll ever play football again. It seems like he's more comfortable being a race car driver. So, to me, San Francisco is really old. You have Trent Williams, who's in his late 30s. You have you have CMC, who's not getting any younger. And then you have Mike Evans, and you're going to have George Kittle coming back from an Achilles tear. I mean, I feel like this is their way of just saying, all right, here we go. We're just going to try it one more time. And if it fails, it falls apart. We'll rebuild around Kyle Shanahan and kind of, design the team in his image. But it hurts. I'll say this. It's going to feel very weird not seeing Mike Evans in a Bucs uniform, because I felt like he should have been a receiver that just goes out as a Buck. I thought he should have just ended his career as a Buck. He was always so good, but how
much does that have to do with Todd Bowles? It seems like a lot of guys down there don't like him.
I don't know if it's Todd Bowles. I think Tampa Bay is in a weird spot because it's very apparent that Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. He's probably a top 12, maybe fringe top 10 quarterback. But I think it's pretty apparent that he's not the type of quarterback that's going to win a Super Bowl. Now saying that coming off the year when Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl, you're going to say well, that's kind of crazy because, look who just won the Super Bowl. But, we haven't really even seen any signs of a deep playoff run from him. He's gotten one or two playoff wins in his career, but he hasn't gone past that. And then sometimes in the playoffs, he just folds and just looks terrible. So I love Baker as a quarterback. He's great if you're a fantasy football player, which I got my fantasy football title belt over here. Won that again this year.
There we go. They'll call you champ. The champ is here.
But to me, I think Tampa Bay's entering a period where they're probably going to have to retool a little bit, and I don't know if they're going to be the front runner necessarily in that division. With Carolina coming up, and I think Atlanta did some really good moves, even though they signed a quarterback that I think is a giant mistake. But we'll talk about that.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that, I mean that's Mr. Concussion King there. I mean, I don't think I don't know why they would sign him, knowing that he may not play. I mean, the dude's had what, 6 of them.
He's had multiple concussions. For me, it's more of the fact that you have 2 left-handed quarterbacks. Okay, fine. You definitely want a backup that can kind of imitate your starter, but both guys are injury prone. Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. I think is like 25, 26. He's gonna be 25 or 26. Multiple knee surgeries on both knees. And now you have Tua, who has multiple concussions and a very severely degraded hip because of his injury in college. And that's what you're rolling out as your quarterbacks for next year. Oh my God. And then you're still paying the cap hit for cutting Kirk Cousins. Good luck.
Yep.
But that division's the NFC South for a reason. The winner's never really any competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can kind of get into the Eagles portion of this now. We'll start with who we've lost so far in free agency. And the biggest one, first of all, Jalen Phillips. I don't think they were going to re-sign it. Like, as much as everybody was like, oh, yeah, all the reports coming out, like, yeah, they're going to try and work a deal out with him. It's
too much money.
Yeah, it's clear that they had a set number of like 20 to 25, maybe 26 million probably a year. And then he goes right out, tests the market literally 10 minutes after 12 o'clock after it opened. It was $30 million a year to the Panthers. Not even like for a guy who wanted to play here his whole career. He didn't have any issue leaving.
Money talks.
He had 120 reasons still.
Yeah, I know the Eagles were going to match that. $20 million. But still, like he left town as quick as he could. So that one kind of stings. But to me, this one is like the least, like the one that stings the least. Because it's like, you know what? He came here. He wasn't great. Like, he was good. He had a couple sacks. But he didn't change it as much as we thought he would. He didn't wreck the game as much as we thought he would. Now, the Lions and the Packers game, absolutely. But other than that, not much to show for it. Towards the end, like the playoff game wasn't really there much in the game. And
everybody sucked at the end. But
yeah, I think that hurts his value for the Eagles, at least from their side, too. So
I think the Jalen Phillips story is pretty simple. He fit with what they wanted to do defensively. Vic Fangio liked him a lot. I think the Eagles had a number in their head, like you said, Joey. I think that number was probably around 20, maybe a little less than that. And they said, okay, here's the number we're thinking. His agent probably said, all right, let's see what the market values. He got 120 over 4, went back to the Eagles and said, can you match this? They said, absolutely not. And we enjoyed working with you. Pleasure doing business.
Yeah.
Enjoy your time in Carolina. And it was very simple. Listen, this is going to be a draft where there's going to be a few edge rushers that likely will fall a little bit just because of how they measured at the combine. Other positions taking precedent over edge in this draft for some teams that are drafting ahead of the Eagles. There's one guy that I think that could fall. I've seen him mocked around, the middle of the draft. The Eagles might have to move up and get him. But, if Reuben Bain's available, a guy from Miami, I've absolutely fallen in love with him. He's undersized as an edge rusher, but I don't know, man. I watched him play against NFL caliber offensive linemen in the college football playoff and absolutely smoke them, and then go to the championship game. And for the first half, until things got a little carried away in the second half, he was getting pressure on Fernando Mendoza on an offensive line that's older, bigger, and a couple of those guys are probably going to get their names called in about a month or so. So Reuben Bain's a guy that I think's available. If he's there, Eagles can go and get him. There's also going to be plenty of veterans in this free agency crop that haven't gotten contracts yet. They're still available. And one of them, as I said, Bradley Chubb, has worked with Vic Fangio in the past. And I think he can come in and be a pretty good, solid starter. But, you have Nolan Smith, you have Jalen Hunt for a reason, and Brandon Graham's going to give it another go for another year. I think, maybe picking up one or two more smaller veterans.
Max Crosby.
Max
Yeah,
Crosby.
Brandon's only going to play so many snaps. So
exactly. So finding some veterans and come off and spell the young kids as they get their snaps. It's probably the best for the Eagles. But it sucks to lose Jalen Phillips. He fit, but at the end of the day, you're not paying him $30 million a year. That's insane.
No.
Yeah. All right. What's the rest of the damage, Joseph? Read it off. I'm not gonna
This one we knew was coming. So
cuts
deep. So this way, like, it cuts deep, but it doesn't completely cut deep.
No.
And then where he went makes me feel a lot better. Nakobe Dean, it was clear, it was obvious. They drafted Jahad Campbell last year. It was kind of like the writing was on the wall. You're not coming back, unfortunately. And I think it has a lot to do with his injury history with the Eagles. Even when they drafted him, he fell because of injuries. So I completely understand that. Now, what was a little sketchy was everything leading up to free agency was, Christian Parker, Eagles defensive, I think it was secondaries coach last year. Yep. He's the defensive coordinator in Dallas now. Dean might want to go there, play with him, be in that system. And it comes out today after he signs with the Raiders last night that on his last final parting wish in Philadelphia, he got pretty much the same deal to go to Dallas and said, nah, I'm going to Las Vegas. And you know what? As an Eagles fan, I say, thank you, Nakobe Dean, because I do not want to play him twice a year.
Well, who in the hell wants to play? Who really wants to play for Jerry Jones anyway? You see the nonsense and the circus that goes on down there. I mean, really, that team is so irrelevant. They're a joke. The owner's a joke. The quarterback is Mr. September, October, November, December, and that's about it. Well, it all depends. I mean, I think if he makes it to the playoffs, and then he boom, falls on his ass there. Literally, remember that game where he slid and fell on his ass, and they're just look. I'm even sick of talking about the Cowboys. Why give them the advertisement? We'll talk about them during Dallas week. Just go kick their ass and bye. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, enough about the Cowboys, man.
Yeah.
Now this was the loss that hurt me a little bit, was losing to Kobe Dean. Talented linebacker, kind of the quarterback of the defense. Is injury prone, but still very reliable for this defense. Very, very much a talent. Sucks to see him go. Again, glad it's not Dallas either. I don't think the grass is always greener, Christian Parker. But I think he goes to the Raiders for a very big reason. He's probably going to play a lot down there. There's no competition there. That defense is awful. And if he goes to there and is healthy and plays well, in a few years, he's going to be a highly paid linebacker in this league. And I do believe in him. I do believe that, he'll get healthy. He'll turn it around. He might get one more big payday. And, Nakobe Dean's not going away in terms of name value in this league. I think he's going to be a solid player.
He's a good player. He's a good player. When he's healthy, he's good.
Nakobe Dean is the quarterback of the defense. Yeah. He'll be the Raiders quarterback on defense. Who else we got? We got Jahan Dotson. I mean, Falcons. He had the Super Bowl. He had the one big touchdown in the Packers playoff game. But other than that,
enjoying catching lefty balls.
Yeah, hey, third receiver. They're dime a dozen. You can get a third receiver in there.
Dalt was agreeing with you, he said. But the other big name, this one to me stings the most, just because of the vibes around the team. And you know what, Dennis? You really had me upset last night because you said it was a great day to be an Eagles fan, and it wasn't a great day to be the Eagles fan. You know why? Because the exciting whites are now just the exciting white. Reed Blankenship goes to the Houston Texans, breaks our hearts.
I didn't like that one at all.
And for as much as he got, I feel like the Eagles could have brought him back. I get it. He wasn't the best in coverage. You saw it in the playoff game. He blew a coverage on the flea flicker that the Niners scored on.
He was reliable.
It happens, but everything that was coming out of the locker room all year for the past few years is he's a leader. He knows what he's doing. He holds the back end together. And for the Eagles to lose somebody like that, and he was undrafted, $8 million doesn't seem like too much. I feel like.
Yes, but here's my take on it. At some point, there will be a transition to move Cooper DeJean to safety. That's probably where his future is
But
going.
the song says he's not a safety, Benny.
I understand that, but long term,
I think the Eagles. I agree with Benny. Yeah, I agree with you, bud. Yeah,
long term, that's probably where he's going to be. Not next year, not the following year, but and so
down the road.
If that's the plan, and you give Reed Blankenship a 4-year contract, that means for at least 4 years, and plus you have Makuba on the team for another 4 years as well. So that means that you're probably not going to move DeJean to safety for probably 3 to 4 years at that point. I think the plan is to probably do that in the next 2 to 3 to be
sooner than later,
sooner rather than later. They go out, they made the move they made today. Okay, it covers you for 1 year. I do think they'll probably address defensive back again in the draft to keep adding to that. But the other thought process is this. They have plenty of safety depth on the roster as it is. You need to bring him back. You have Makuba coming back from an injury. You still have Marcus Epps. People aren't going to like you. Still have Sidney Brown. But the other component is you have DeJean who can play some safety, and you also have Michael Carter III who restructured his contract to stay with the Eagles, free up some cap.
Right.
He also has played safety in his career as well. He's kind of a slot safety, kind of mirrors what Cooper DeJean does. So, it sucks to see him go.
Yeah.
For me, the problem wasn't the money, it was the years. You can't lock him up for 4 years if you have a plan in place, which is very apparent what the Eagles do.
Oh, that is their plan, because I've been hearing last year I heard it. I think ultimately they want Cooper at safety. I mean, that's just.
They do. It makes a lot of sense. He's
kind
of
and DeJean in the back.
Yeah.
Back end.
To me, it makes a lot of sense because the type of position he kind of grades out to play is kind of that star, specialized nickel position where it's not really a corner, not really a safety, not really a linebacker, kind of a specialized player that can kind of cover, tackle, wrap up, blitz. And, we haven't really seen them use DeJean on blitzes that much in this defense, which is probably a weapon they can unlock and, take the next step. I really do view him as kind of that specialized X factor, X weapon on the Eagles defense that we haven't even gotten there yet with him. So,
and they might toy with that this year. You never know. They might toy here and there.
They probably with them picking up Tariq Cohen, that gives them another outside corner, and now you really can move DeJean inside and play with him a little bit more and have a lot.
They do have a plan. I mean, they always are thinking forward.
That's how you extend your window.
Exactly. They got the puzzle pieces always, moving.
Yeah. So. And supposedly in this draft, to tie it into another thing, supposedly in this draft, this is a rumor. It's not, validated just yet. I'm still reading on it. But to me, the top safety in this draft is Caleb Downs from Ohio State. He gives you a lot more than what you saw last year out of like a Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks is a fantastic safety. He's going to do well in Baltimore. But, Caleb Downs was a lot of the times a very important defensive player for one of the best defenses in the country at Ohio State, even though Sonny Styles, you had Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs was the one that jumped out on tape a lot of the time with his coverage skills. Supposedly there's an injury concern with him, and he's going now from being a top 10 pick, a la Jahad Campbell last year. He's starting to fall down draft boards a little bit. Teams are taking him off their boards. So if Caleb Downs drops to the Eagles pick, I could see the Eagles taking him and pairing him up with Makuba, and now you have your safety tandem for the future. And, you could do that and then use DeJean more as a specialized safety, or specialized kind of part-time safety, part-time corner, keep him on the outside for a little bit. But, the Eagles like to draft best players available. I know I just talked about how DeJean being in safety is the future, but, Caleb Downs could also change their plans. They do best player available all the time, could give them, a couple more years with DeJean on the outside and give you a better version of whatever you got out of Reed Blankenship. It hurts to see, again, as a fan, hurts to see Reed Blankenship go. He was an awesome character for the fans to love, but at the same time, $24 million over 4 years. I think it was even more than that. It was like $24.75 million over 4 years. That's just, the years are what bothers you. The security is what bothers you in terms of tying up what you do in the back end.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing I'd like to say is for all the social media people out there talking about Jalen Carter getting traded, please.
Oh my God.
Please stop it.
Oh my God,
Stop it.
that and
He's
AJ
not.
Brown.
Well, yes. Speaking of that,
They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere.
Oh, stop it.
This is
Okay,
like,
I know everybody wants
oh my
clickbait
God.
and wants to be famous, but just stop it. It's nonsense. Stop it.
You want to really get some clickbait? You really want to get some clickbait? You talk about them trading Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean. That's what you do. If you want to get clickbait, then you do that.
all right, good. I'm
Trading
gonna
Jalen Carter, trailing, and I'm not saying they're gonna do that either.
Jalen Hurts traded for sixth.
Jalen.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, let's trade Jalen Carter for Joel Embiid. Why not? Let's get really goofy.
It's insane.
Seeing
the what's funny about the Jalen Carter trade thing is that a team called the Eagles about Jalen Carter. They said, "Oh, is he available?" The Eagles said no. Then the story becomes Jalen Carter's available via trade. No. If I go to a car dealership and I say, "Hey, I want to buy that car," and they say, "Well, it's not for sale," I don't turn around to people and say, "Hey, they're shopping this car," because they're not. That's completely untrue and baseless. All this stuff is clickbait.
It's bad. It's just bad reporting, and then people on TikTok and everything get their panels and they talk about this stuff. It's nonsense.
It is the unfortunate byproduct of today's media climate right now.
Oh yeah, it's just nonsense. It's like, please.
No one. Everyone just wants to rely on the headline. No one thinks things through. Why would they trade Jalen Carter? Jalen Carter is the best defense. He's probably the best defensive lineman in football right now, short of Myles Garrett. So you don't trade. You don't get that off your team. You're trying to win a Super Bowl. Super Bowl teams don't get rid of players and then win. You don't get better by getting rid of AJ Brown. You don't get better by getting rid of Jalen Carter. Okay, you get rid of those guys. Who are you going to get? Who are you going to get that's better than those two guys? There's no one that's going to come in here. Justin Jefferson's not walking through that door. Vintage Jerry Rice is not walking through that door. Vintage Warren Sapp is not walking through that door. So these trade things, this is probably going to be great content. This is going to be a great loop clip for this podcast on Instagram. These little mock trades of getting rid of Jalen Carter and getting rid of AJ Brown. Okay, if you want to do that, fine. Do it on Madden. Do it on Madden. This is not Madden's not reality. Madden's not
real life. And people will argue with me when I say it's nonsense, and I'm like, why am I even bothering with this? Yeah, it's nonsense. I try to state facts and what's going on. I don't, making up stuff just doesn't cut it. You know what I mean?
On Twitter, I'm gonna rank because I've been saving them. Every time I see a mock trade for AJ Brown, I save it because I'm going to do a power ranking of my favorite worst trade deals for. Like there was one. It was like, oh, the Packers would trade AJ Brown for a second round pick and Dontavian Wicks. Why the hell would the Eagles do that?
Good catch, Ben.
And then another one was like, oh, a second round pick, a fifth, and Rashad Bateman to the Raven. Why would we want Rashad Bateman? Bateman sucks. Why would and a second, a fifth? Okay, great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's total not. It's just not. It's not. It's sad. I'm going to use the word sad. It's just sad. Yeah. So have fun, people that do this stuff. It's sad. I mean, like I said, we have 10,000 reporters out here on social media that are experts, right? Go play your Madden. Go have fun doing that. Okay. Yeah. Let the big boys tell you how it is for real.
What, 2-3 years ago, where every time I turned on Instagram, X, whatever, all I saw was Derrick Henry signed by the Eagles. Derrick Henry traded to Derrick Henry, and do you know what we ended up doing that season? We got Saquon Barkley instead. How we let people pull it out? Here's the issue. I hear Eagles fans and fans of all types kind of trashing Howie Roseman. And to the Birds fans, how much does he have to prove himself before you actually trust him? It's like
he has a plan.
What he's created is one of the best Eagles rosters of all time.
Right. He has a plan. Okay. Each year's different. He has a plan.
It's like you really want him to spend $30 million on Jalen Phillips. Oh, you have to pay Quinyon and Cooper DeJean soon. You're getting our players are so good that it's becoming a tangled mess, and you're going to have to lose people. It's sad who we lost, but when you look at it compared to the rest of the team, it's definitely a good trade for. I mean,
imagine being the Ravens right now.
Exactly. Imagine being a Ravens fan.
Yeah,
right
imagine
now.
being a Ravens fan. They're
What the hell are
probably
you
Boy,
going to
you
So,
talk about getting your heart ripped
do
out.
right now?
to Philadelphia and all the Eagles fans involved, shut up and trust Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
he brought us Tariq Woolen
He has a plan.
and some random tight end.
Fine.
And a random tight end.
Grant Calcaterra back.
Yep.
But about the AJ stuff, I listen to the radio. I love listening to the radio because
I turned them off a long
they're
time.
great they're great personalities. WIP was doing like their caller of the year thing. That was awesome. But man, am I getting tired of every day? It's the same. Like they start off the same way. Oh, AJ Brown's gonna get traded. AJ Brown. Well, you know
They're
what?
becoming entertainment. They're becoming entertainment, not factual anymore. I had to. Yeah, it's
The thing is, the Patriots allegedly were the number one team trying to get AJ Brown. You saw the report last week, or it might have been the beginning of this week. It's the Eagles asking price is way too high. I know you can't trust WIP. They have an agenda. They're set out. They have an agenda to push, and
to get ratings.
we don't do that here.
Getting ratings.
Okay, we don't do that here. We don't have any agendas to push besides the birds are the best. But no, we saw last week that the Patriots reporters, whatever it was, the asking price was way too high for the Patriots to want to move on to AJ Brown. Now, yeah, we got in the combine. We had it was Mike Vrabel was talking about AJ Brown. You had apparently AJ Brown's agent was down there trying to find him a deal. Cool. But nothing happened.
The Patriots podcast he did with
the Patriots podcast, the guys on guys, dudes like dudes, or whatever.
And then Sirianni opening his mouth. And,
all that. But nothing's happened. And then, like Howie Roseman did say, he's a great player, and you don't win football games by just giving away great players. So I don't think the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles really want to move on from him. Everything coming out of the locker room is he's a great teammate. He's a great friend. He's a great guy. So, yes, he might have been upset. And the more you look at it, he was, I think, upset with the offense, the way it was ran. I guess he wasn't getting the football and stuff like that. But I think it was more so like the scheme. And if you remember what Devontae Smith said at the end of the year, it's been the same scheme for all 5 years I've been here. So I think that might be a little bit of AJ's frustration. I get it. He wants the ball. Every player wants the ball. And Saquon Barkley's getting a lot more attention than he is when he got here. So, yeah, I get it. I understand you're getting some big boy feelings. You don't know how to handle them. It's okay. But the Eagles aren't just going to move on from him just to move on.
Yeah.
And Dalton mentioned it in the comments. The Patriots signed Romeo Doubs. Dobbs. The Patriots probably aren't in the market anymore for a receiver. You saw DJ Moore went to the Bills. So really, who realistically, if he was even going to be traded, is going to actually want AJ Brown?
Absolutely nobody.
Or exactly more my point here is just the receiver market right now. It's a little crazy. DJ Moore got moved for a second round pick. Alec Pierce just got $30 million. The market's kind of all over the place. And of all the available receivers to go and get, Romeo Doubs was probably the best the Patriots could get right now because, who else is out there? There's not a lot of receivers demanding trades right now. If you're not going to get Romeo Doubs, the next best receivers on the market, it's Stephon Diggs, who's probably destined for the California Penile League. And then you have Tyreek Hill, who, that we just watched that guy's knee snap in half. And
I think he's
he's also
I'm
got off the
surprised
field.
he hasn't retired yet, to be honest.
It's tough to retire when you have what is it, 10 kids by like 9 different women or something like that.
Right.
He's got alimony
on that road.
He can get a job, but he can go work at I don't know where he can go work because it wouldn't take him as a sportscaster.
If you look at this like an economist, that price, honestly, the price for AJ Brown, the Eagles supposedly said it was a first and a second. It's probably up to 2 firsts. It's probably a Max Crosby package because who else is out there that's any good that you're going to be able to realistically go and get? Now, with that aside, the major point for me is the Patriots podcast. Everyone's making a big deal about the link. he even said on the podcast he's really excited to see the future of this offense. Howie Roseman said he's not trading him. Aside from Nick Sirianni opening his mouth, both parties seem to be very happy. A.J. Brown calls Philadelphia home. What is the goal of this team right now? Is it to win 10 games a year and make the playoffs and get bounced like the Steelers do? Or is it to win championships? You know,
Win championships.
Us, this fan base, everyone, you know, this fan base, we need to put ourselves in the mindset of what happened before 2017, before we won that Super Bowl over the Patriots. We hadn't won anything. So we win 2 Super Bowls now in 9 years, and all of a sudden we want to trade this and that and the other thing, or two Super Bowls in 7 years, and we want to trade this person and that person. Realistically, this is our Super Bowl window. It is not closed. It's not going to close anytime soon because this team keeps developing and accruing young talent. So you keep the window open. You keep an A.J. Brown. You keep a Jalen Carter. You keep as many players, as many good, talented players as you can keep under the cap, and you keep contending for championships. That's the way this is going to be. And anyone that thinks otherwise is playing Madden.
And you keep making the moves that Howie does. Like I said, he sets it up so it can continuously be there and be in the hunt. You know, you can't keep everybody. You got to rotate. You got to move. You got to have a plan. He's the best in the league to do that. So it might not always be sexy. It might look bad, but for God's sakes, people, trust him. Because, you know, look at his record. Super Bowl 2 times in 3 years.
3.
Yeah.
Could have won one. Could have won both of them. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Should have won both.
Won all 3.
Could have won both of them. You know,
Yeah, so
Mahomes and his besties weren't, you know.
yeah, but it's okay. And the bottom line is everybody relax, take a chill pill.
Listen,
it's March. Relax.
The future of this team is just as bright as ever. You know, Makuba's going to be able to step up and replace a lot of what you got out of Reed Blankenship. He'll be a different form of safety. You have edge depth with Jay Links Hunt and Nolan Smith. You're going to have to figure out paying them soon, but this is a draft that's going to have plenty of edge talent. And, you know, people are making a big deal about Dallas Goedert not being potentially on this team. Right now, no team has been rumored to be in on Dallas Goedert. The Commanders are.
I think he's staying.
There's probably a good chance he stays, but even if he doesn't, there is a tight end in this draft that I absolutely love in Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. Yeah. I think him on this team would just be outstanding. He almost be like picking up a slot receiver that can play tight end. I don't necessarily know about the pass pro, but he is an excellent run blocker.
So can he block? He can block, all right.
He can block. He can give you some good run blocking reps. You know, big dude too. He's really strong, really firm. But you know, to me, the Eagles are in a prime spot to keep this going. I love what they did at the coordinator position, Sean Mannion. And you know, if you like what you saw with the Green Bay Packers and how they kind of spread the ball all over the place, you're going to get a little bit of that. And then Grizzard from the Buccaneers. Go back and look at Mike Evans' route tree. Go back and look at Emeka Egbuka's route tree. You know, the reason why that team stumbled in the second half is because of injuries. It's not because their offensive coordinator was not good. So take that route tree, spreading the ball around. I think you're going to see a better version of Jalen Hurts next year. And I think this team's going to be right back to where they were. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to be a top team in the NFC because the Rams look good. The Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. And, you know, there might be one other team that's right around there with the Eagles, but you know, they'll be in the mix. And that's really all you can do in this league is just be in the mix, and you might be able to punch a Super Bowl ticket.
Yeah.
And division wise, the Cowboys are the Cowboys. The Redskins are the Redskins.
The only team to worry about is the Giants.
They look like they're trying to do a super team. And that never works out in football. Only basketball and baseball. So
I do think they're a year away, but we've seen plenty of times the Giants. You know, the Bears. I thought they were a year away. Here they go. You know, a couple of years ago. You know, if we want to talk about Kyler Murray, the Cardinals looked really good. They went to the playoffs and then got ran. You know, every year there's one surprise team that seems to pull it out, and you know, to me, it could be the Giants this year that could be surprised. Though I do think they're a year away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moose, you got any like closing remarks? I know you kind of prefaced to Eagles fans it is only March. Anything else for them? You know, words.
I mean, hey, relax. It's only March. Let's get ready for the Phillies. Let's see how the draft. What's that?
Jesus Luzardo, baby.
Love the contract.
Yeah. Let's get ready. Hey, let's get ready. Yeah, we got the draft coming up. Right now, the Phillies start in 2 weeks?
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's get ready for the Phils. The Sixers, who cares? You know how I feel about them. And, of course, once again, they're proving me right. And Embiid, that's a whole different – don't get me on that rant. So let's get ready for the Phils. Remember, it's March. The Eagles always have a plan. And, we're always in the mix. So just relax, everybody. Don't pay attention to social media people, especially the rookies and amateurs on these TikTok lives and all that stuff. Okay? Just chill.
I just go to the NFL on Facebook. Their Facebook page is great. I mean, serious. Anytime I see something, I double check it on there. I always because even with Adam Schefter, I always remember the Tom Brady retiring. And so I think that was more of Tom Brady all right, you leaked it. Well, I'm not going to do that. But
right.
That's where I get my confirmation from.
There you go. My final remark is I'm just going to give a prediction of where I think a quarterback will end up. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. Kyler Murray cut by the Cardinals, so now he's a free agent and he can sign anywhere after I think it's after June 1st officially. He's a designated June 1st cut.
Yeah.
He's going to be a Viking. I think he's going to end up being a Minnesota Viking. I think it makes a lot of sense for Minnesota to go and get a quarterback that can actually throw the ball instead of whatever they have right now in J.J. McCarthy. I think McCarthy's done. Towards the end of the year, they were just so down on him. So I think Kyler Murray to the Vikings, and I think the Vikings could be a surprise team next year that really does really well. Maybe not a playoff team, but maybe you get a little closer. Maybe they're a wild card team with him and Justin Jefferson. So. That's my prediction for free agency right now. Is I think Kyler Murray, once the dust clears, we get through the draft. I think the Vikings, are probably going to move on from 9 and go and pick up Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Winner, you got anything?
I think we covered just about all of it.
All right. Well, I'll end on this. Kind of piggyback over Moose. Just trust Howie. It as bad as it last 24 hours were. We saw this last year, so it's easy to freak out and be like, oh my gosh, we're losing this, we're losing that. But it's a slow process. League technically officially hasn't even started yet for this year. It starts tomorrow at 4:00. So it's not even and another thing is, not saying the Eagles would end up bringing it back, but with the Raiders having to bring back Max Crosby, if they can't find a deal for him, they might have to move some of their deals that they made. Who knows? Maybe Nakobe Dean back on the market. Who knows? But, no,
I doubt that. Unfortunately, I doubt it. But
I do doubt it. But in all seriousness, just trust in Howie Roseman. We see him. He's a cap wizard. We don't call it Howie season for nothing. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the best in the league.
He's proved it.
And we covered. Don't trust all the rumors you hear because, it's just going to discourage you. But other than that, just be sure to tune in tomorrow night because I'm sure tomorrow is going to be a wild day. With this coming out tonight, tomorrow is sure to be a wild day. So 302 Birds, the main podcast, they'll have it all for you tomorrow night, 8:05, same time. Be on the lookout for that. I don't know.
I like to do it. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if the Sixers post-game guys are doing anything in the next couple of days or not, just because injuries. With all the injuries going on, it really is just the Sixers hospital team out there.
Well, Maxi's out for a while, from what I hear.
Got the news today. Maxi's out for a while, so not good. And then Philly Sports Pulse. I know my guy Jesse. Prayers out to him. He was going through a couple some health stuff.
Prayers to Jesse. Good guy.
I think they'll be back this week. So I'm sure they're chomping at the bit. They're excited to talk about all the free agency, all the moves, everything going on. But other than that, I think that's all we got for you guys. Yeah.
See you next week.
We'll see.
Real quick. When you're down in the state of Delaware.
Oh, yeah?
Balboa Steaks.
Balboa Steaks.
They're damn good. Moose approved. Okay?
Yeah, they are.
Now, and also another cheap plug. As you see this lined up here, this is the Wingador brand sauce. It's very good. Goes on anything on wingador.com. And Wingador's the 5-time Wing Bowl champion. And he came up with this sauce.
It is very good. I tried it. Oh, Benny put the belt over there. Benny got the belt. Beltman Benny. Oh, the League of Famous Gentlemen.
Oh,
the champ.
World champion, huh?
The champ, Benny.
That's nice. It's always good to have a belt.
Three-time
times.
champion. Wow.
3 times. You got 3 belts?
Now I
You
got
get 3
this one.
belts.
I got 3 rings.
That belt's better.
This belt knows where Daddy is, and it's home.
Yeah,
That's right.
baby.
There we go. Something about having a championship belt. I don't know what it is. It just gets me all warm and fuzzy if I had one.
That WWE nostalgia.
Best advice I
Yeah.
can ever give any fantasy league is if you've been around for a little bit, get yourself a championship belt. This cost us
the
about
belt's
$200. Everyone pitched in for it. It makes you wear this around everyone in your fantasy league, and all of a sudden that conversation shifts, and people are just like, okay,
That guy.
Yeah, it's better than a ring,
Yeah, that guy Benny, I don't like him. He beats me at fantasy every year. That guy. That's what the conversations be like.
Haters going to hate, right?
All right, but with that,
Guardian King.
yeah, with that, guys, we're gonna shut it down. We will be back.
Thanks for watching.
Next week or the draft at some point. We will kind of keep updating on social media. But thank you all. And have a good night.
Have a good night. Stay prayed up.
For life, brother. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.